Oh, we'll switch it this way. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, Jack Fogle is on.
So he's going to be on your left. Jack is I believe, a Louisville native. He's from Kentucky. He recently did well in the Nashville Open, where he got second.
I see he's actually from Kentucky.
Oh, it's Lexington.
Yeah.
Apologies, Jack Fogle. And on our right, we have notable hair enthusiast, Jack Grannan. He's currently he's from Cincinnati, same city I live in, but he's living in Boston now. But he's home for the summer, and he is, yes, one of his accomplishments is top 3 Magic personalities hair.
Yeah, that's what he listed here on our little information card. Yeah. He's also one of the hosts of the MTG Bridge podcast, which I believe you may know something about.
Yeah, and he is going to be playing one of my favorite decks, the full-color Reanimator deck. So we've seen a lot of junk Umbrella Rights decks.
Yes.
Like Star City's own Brian Dwin has been championing that.
It's been a pillar of the format for a while.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic. Basically the latest and greatest in Reanimator technology is adding red, skewing the mana base so that you can cast every land casts Boros Reckoner.
Yeah, interesting.
You get access to Faithless Looting.
Yep, that's a card you like.
Big fan of Faithless Looting. And then, so every land that casts, every land in the deck casts Boros Reckoner and Grizzly Salvage. So we have Jack's mana bases, stuff like Godless Shrine, Temple Garden, Stomping Ground, things like that cast one or the other.
No Stomping Ground in there, is it?
That's right.
Oh, yeah, that's why I was looking at the wrong one.
But after that, he's basically your typical thing. He's got Umbrella Rights, Angel Serenity, Thragtusk. He has a Sire of Insanity in his main deck.
Yeah, that's a pretty scary card.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on who your opponent is.
This particular build has a crazy, we'll call it a nut draw, of turn 1 Faithless Looting, discard Umbrella Rights and the Sire of Insanity, turn 2 Farseek, turn 3 Reanimate it, discard your hand, thanks.
Now Jack playing a deck that I think, once he's got the pressure that he needs on the board, Sire is not as big of a problem.
Yeah,
Sire's Jack Fogle playing.
Yeah, Sire will not be at its greatest this matchup. Yeah. Jack's deck is very quick, very high variance, but explosive and powerful. His deck features Invisible Stalker, Geist of St. Trash, so it's a hexproof deck.
Right.
And he just wants to increase its savagery with increasing savagery, and mostly enchantments, Spectral Flight, Rancor, Unflinching Courage. And once you have all these enchantments, Ethereal Armor gets really exciting.
Yeah, basically you're just trying to build a dragon. You're just trying
to build for the dragon you can't target.
Yeah, exactly. Build a dragon you can't target. That seems reasonable. I mean, but that's pretty much the plan. It's got a really low curve. You got like Loxodon Smiter is pretty much, the top of the creature curve over here. Just a one of. Geist of St. Traff, of course, as we mentioned. But yeah, he can pretty much come out fast and just, as he draws his various enchantments, just suit them up and get in there. So I mean, that's pretty much the plan. And I think, I wonder if we're going to see a lot more of this today, just based on the various
content.
The content that we've had on Star City this past week. People mentioning different versions of the Hexproof deck. I know Mike Flores played a blue-white-red version of Hexproof last week in Baltimore.
I'm with Jack Fogle here. I think the green cards, the green enchantments particularly, are so much more powerful than anything like Madcap skills or anything. Right,
yeah, red gives you Madcap skills. It gives you Boros Charm if you want.
Right.
Like, just to get, like, kind of some extra reach.
The funny thing about Boros Charm in these types of decks is it always deals 4 in any way possible.
Yeah.
And you can save your 4-power guy by making it indestructible. You can give your 4-power guy double strike.
Or just deal 4.
Just deal them 4.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's... That's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
it's
nothing
kind of a
wrong with
safe thing, right,
2 mana 4 damage, but
save your guy. I mean,
it's funny that it really only has one mode in those types of decks.
Yeah, I think the other big card, Rootborn Defenses, obviously they have access to in Bant or Blue-White, right? That's
Yes.
Because I think what gives this deck trouble are obviously the supreme
Sweepers,
verdicts
yes.
of the format. One card that we did see in a few decks last week that sort of circumvents the Rootborn Defenses, Boros Charm answer is Mutilate. Which is strange. You don't
Cool.
see a lot of Mutilate. We had a bug deck actually playing Mutilate in the top 8 last
I saw that. That's interesting. One card I see an uptick. I'm talking to some players. A lot of people really high on Terminus.
Yes.
Very similar fact where, Jack has a bunch of, so the creatures that he has that aren't hexproof aren't very killable, aren't very sweepable.
Right.
He has Voice of Resurgence and Stranglegeist.
Yeah.
He has 6 in the main deck, and he'll have the other 2 are in the board.
Right, very resilient. So
yeah.
even though you can target them with your removal, they're usually going to stick around.
Right.
But with something like Terminus, they're not dying, so they're not triggering that way.
Yes.
So we'll likely see more Terminuses. This
I believe that's
is that the correct
technical
plural, Terminus?
definition.
So yeah, if you're just joining us, you're just in time to see round 1 of the StarCityGames.com Open Series live from St. Louis, featuring the Jack Mirror match. Now this is interesting. Jack Fogle currently mulliganing.
Yeah, how low?
Down to 4.
Yeah, I saw Jack Fogle, shuffling, and Jack Grannan is, just kind of chilling. When I was wondering how low it went, I did not expect 4.
Yeah, I was thinking he's got to be going pretty low because it seems like he's been shuffling for a while.
Right, exactly. But that's the thing. Depends on your, how much. Not all your hands are gonna have all your pieces.
Right.
Because if you think about it, you need a creature, a way to make it bigger,
right, and then a way to cast,
and then a way to cast it. Yeah. So it's really there's no draw fixing.
Yeah.
It really just wants to gem as many copies of the cards it wants as possible. Whereas deck like Jack Grannan's, it can go ahead and keep a hand with 3 lands and a Faithless Looting, no matter what the other 3 cards are, or 3 lands and a Grizzly Salvage.
What's a good 4-card hand for Jack?
He can just
land, Stalker, Rancor, or land, something like that.
I would take that in a second.
Trying to think what's the.
I think 3 lands and an Invisible Stalker is an insane hand.
Yeah.
On 4 cards.
It's pressure.
I don't think Jack likes his 4-card hand.
I don't think he does either. looking at his hand, shaking his head. But probably also, he looks like he says keep. He's got a land drop. It's a Moorland Haunt.
Oh wow, the 1 Moorland Haunt?
One of Moorland Haunt, yeah. It looks like he's got Avacyn's Pilgrim ×2 in his hand. I think that's a Spectral Flight.
Yeah, I don't believe he drew a second land,
don't believe so.
Jack is going to take 2 life from his Godless Shrine.
Yeah.
It's interesting that he can't play. He has to play it in this order, because if he played Godless Shrine tapped on turn 1, his Rootbound Crag would
be tapped as well, right?
Yeah. So we'll see a turn 2 Grizzly Salvage from Jack. A very good start for him. Hopefully he wants a land, because that's all he has an option there. The one cool card in Jack. One of the cool cards, one of the big appeals is that's a Harvest Fire.
Yeah.
So there are Boros Reckoners in Jack's deck. As you can see, this Grizzly Salvage puts 5 cards in the graveyard. So that's a lot of the ways towards a Harvest Pyre, your own Boros Reckoner.
Yeah.
To deal a bunch of damage.
Speak of the devil, there's Boros Reckoner. So Jack Fogle, with far from the start that he wanted, has a Temple Garden now, comes into play untapped, and he plays Avacyn's Pilgrim.
So yeah, a little late to the party, but we'll see what kind of interaction. I believe Jack just drew his other copy.
I think he did. Of Harvest
Pyre. There are 2 copies in Jack Grannan's deck.
Yes.
It looks like another Boros Reckoner. I see a Faithless Looting. I'm not sure if he has another land. I think he has a Mulch as well.
Reckoner gets in for 3 and knocks Fogle with 15, and we've got that Faithless Looting.
Right, so Stomping Ground and Grizzly Salvage were the new cards drawn. So we're discarding another Faithless Looting and the new Grizzly Salvage.
There's that Stomping Ground.
I believe this is going to be another Boros Reckoner.
Yeah, there it is. Reckoner number 2, and Grannan with the bringing all the pressure right now.
All right, so Voice of Resurgence, the draw for Jack Fogle.
Unable to cast it, from what we can tell.
He can cast it with the Pilgrim and the Temple Garden.
Right.
But he might not want to do that. He might just want to Rancor up his. We'll see what Jack wants to do. He's in a real tough spot regardless. He started on only 4 cards, and only had a Moorland Haunt for lands for the first couple turns.
Yeah, I like this Voice of Resurgence play because I mean, Rancoring.
I agree. You got to do something. You got to win somehow.
Yeah, Rancoring up the Pilgrim is not enough against 2 Reckoners on the other side of the board.
Angel's Serenity, the draw for Jack Grannan. I think Jack might have made a mistake. If he does in fact have a Harvest Pyre in his hand, I think he made a mistake discarding the Grizzly Salvage last turn. Because he could theoretically just kill Jack. I mean, Mulch will do the trick too. So if he had Mulch.
There you see.
So if Jack in fact does have, he discards 2 Lingering Souls and an Angel of Serenity.
Yeah, that's a pretty good Mulch.
That's not bad. He picks up a land as well. So if Jack Grannan attacks for 6, I would imagine that Fogle will not block here. If he does block, he'll probably lose his Voice and his Pilgrim. So he goes to 9, and if Jack has a Harvest Pyre, there it is. And then he'll just remove his whole graveyard.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and grab that Mulch there.
Yeah,
9.
he just makes sure you're doing it correctly. Right. So Harvest Pyre removes 9 cards, deals 9 damage to the Boros Reckoner. The Reckoner will die, but it'll deal 9 damage to Jack Fogle.
Yes.
And Jack Grannan takes game 1 in the Jack mirror match.
Yeah, I think he had game 1 as soon as Fogle.
Mulligan to 4. Well, not just mulligan to 4. Like Jack Fogle could have a very good 4 cards.
Sure. We did mention a couple of his.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he did not have any of those. Moorland Hunt is not what you want in your 4-card hand, especially when it's your only land.
Yes.
So Jack Grannan wins game 1. Probably. Things get better for Grannan after sideboarding as well. There's a couple very, very, very important pieces of interaction. There are 2 copies of Ray of Revelation.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a huge one, because not only is it like a 2-for-1,
right.
It get 2 enchantments, make Invisible Stalker, keep it at a 1/1. But it's also value for when you like Grizzly Salvage over it. You can discard a Faithless Looting, or if you can, it's a graveyard deck.
Exactly. Throwing flashback cards in the graveyard is
the
pretty
other big
good
card.
idea.
The other big card against hexproof creatures is Rolling Trembler.
Yeah.
So there's 2 copies of those as well. And those will sweep away Invisible Stalker and Geist of Saint Draft. So that's really big for Jack Grannan, and I think this matchup, even just the presence of 4 cards, really, really helps him out if he can find one of those 4 cards.
What is he pulling out of there to make room? What do you think?
All right, so he has a couple of singletons in his main deck. He has a Voice of Resurgence that is not very good. He has a Sigh of Insanity that's not super exciting. Also, there's copies of Lingering Souls. Not the greatest. It's pretty good against the Geist of Saint Draft, but it's fairly weak against Rancor or some of his other creatures. You can keep in Lingering Souls if you want to take out some like the combo, like maybe Harvest Pyre is something you can take out. It depends on how deep you want to go. Angel Serenity is also a card. Like I've seen people like board in more cards and then take out Angel Serenity and like say 2 of their own Barrier Rights, because Angel Serenity doesn't get a lot of targets.
Exactly.
Like if you want to do that and go cheaper, like he has 2 Abrupt Decay, 3 Pillar Flame, that he could bring in that aren't huge impact cards.
Right.
But that are still good.
But yeah, they'll do something. Exactly.
Sometimes, yeah.
Right. Or they're more likely to do something than basically a 7-mana Mahamoti Jin, right?
Right.
Angel of Serenity doesn't do all that much.
All right. So down a game, what is Jack Fogle?
Well, he's got Ground Seal. It's the first card. It's just one.
One copy.
I mean, that's something.
That's something. It's not nothing.
Exactly. He's also got root-borne defenses, which if he expects the the rolling Trembler as you mentioned, he can at least kind of next level that or answer that particular answer.
Yeah, that one's more difficult. It could still work because he's on the play. But he might need an accelerant because the Trembler costs the same as Geist of St. Traft. If Fogle plays a Geist of St. Traft, Jack on his turn can play the Trembler and should before Jack untaps.
Exactly. So root-borne defenses isn't
not
even
as good.
available.
It's not as good against the Trembler as it is against like Supreme Vert.
Right. That makes sense. I mean, if he wants to go leaner, he has he has Strangleroot Geist in there. But other than that, I'm not.
Yeah, I don't see much change for Jack's deck. I see like maybe one copy of Simic Charm being cut for Ground Seal.
Sure.
But he just wants to keep up the non-interactivity as much as he can.
Stay
basically.
on plan, right?
Yeah.
And I think part of the plan is keeping 7.
Keep getting a reasonable start.
Getting a reasonable 7,
yes.
right.
The funny thing is I think Jack's hand was actually not bad.
Yeah.
If you got to add those 3 cards. Because by the time he drew 3 cards, he added Temple Garden, and Pilgrim, a Voice. He didn't have blue mana all game, but he had a couple blue cards. Like I believe he had a couple Spectral Flights.
Yeah, Spectral Flights was the blue card that I saw.
But I think it was a keepable 7. Because that's the other thing about Fogle's deck, is that it is 3 colors, and it needs its mana like literally right away. Whereas someone like Grannan's deck, it is more colors, but the mana is actually pretty stable. Like you do not. Yeah, it's funny to say that you need triple white for Angel Serenity, but you don't need white mana for the rest of the game.
Right. You have plenty of time to get there if you're going to hardcast Angel Serenity, and then you've got Unburial Rights to cheat on the white mana.
And you generally only need 1 of any given color.
And you've got probably one of the best non-land color fixtures in the format with Farseek.
Oh yeah, I actually think Farseek is the best card in Standard.
I could see that. I don't think you're the only person.
It's not. Yeah, it's not as good as it was maybe like say pre-Gate Crash like 6 months ago. But I still think it's one of the top 5 cards in Standard for sure. I love Farseek. I love it in this deck. It gives a nice little extra speed. So you're not as reliant on comboing out. You can play more of a mid-range game if that's what your draw.
Right. And then of course it allows it to be 4 color.
Right. There are versions of this deck without Farseek.
Those are a little more ambitious, I guess. What are they using in place of Farseek? Are they using anything in place of Farseek?
I know they have like Grannan only has 3 mulches.
Okay. So just he
like fill up
cuts,
on
right. So we're underway. Fogle with a turn 1 Temple Garden, turn 2 Hallowed Fountain. Grannan has a turn 1 Dragon Skull Summit, which he is using here on turn 2 to faithlessly loot.
I see an Angel Serenity, so that should hit the graveyard.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a handful of lands. Or am I?
Yeah.
I mean, we see he
lands.
looted into at least 2.
So it looks like he's discarding 2 lands. Even without Mirror Rights, I would definitely discard Angel Serenity, if that is in fact what he has. But Jack looks like he's going for 2 lands, and another comes into play tapped land. If Jack has a dual land, that seems much stronger.
Yeah, just because it lets your buddy lands come into play untapped.
Yeah. So the Geist of St. Traft.
Yeah, there's arrived. A turn 3 Geist.
One of my least favorite cards in Standard. I played Geist of St. Traft, and I hate playing with it, and I hate playing against it. But here comes to do its non-interactive work.
Yeah, so this game's looking much better for Fogle. Kept his 7, has a turn 3 Geist of St. Traft.
And it looks like Grannan is going to Farseek, the FNM promo Farseek.
I like that artwork quite a bit.
Yeah.
There you find a Temple Garden.
Yeah, Temple Garden. So he's building up towards his Angel mana. But I don't think Angel Serenity is where he wants to be this game.
Yeah, even if he could cast it right now, it's a 5/6. That's nice. So I mean, it would be nice against the.
As a 50-50 shot of being able to block Geist of St. Traft. So I'm thinking Jack Fogle is quite flooded as well. I think I saw at least 3 lands, if not more. Quick view of the side, or maybe just busting out the angel token.
Yeah.
There's a spectral flight.
Yeah.
But there's 2 more breeding pools in Jack's hand, so this Geist of St. Traft needs to do a lot of work. It's capable of doing a lot of work, but
it's already doing some work.
That might be all Jack Fogle has.
But it might also be all he needs at this point.
Exactly.
He just crashed in for 8 on the first swing with a Geist of St. Traft.
Right. So looks like Jack needs to find one, at least one of his.
Let's see, a mulch here, I think, from Grannan. Yeah. There's the mulch.
Special mulch. I would have, unless he has a grizzly salvage, I would have tapped a little differently.
2 lingering souls.
That's the best whiff on mulch. Possible.
It's 2 lingering souls, a grizzly salvage, and Reckoner.
Yeah.
Mulch,
so it doesn't get any cards. I don't believe he has another land, but lingering souls is going to buy him like 8 damage basically.
Right.
Because he can block the Geist of St. Traft and then block the token.
Right.
So those are each. He drew gain 16 life.
Yeah, he looks like he's considering a Farseek. Okay, good. I was like, that seems a little risky.
Yeah, Farseek is very ambitious.
Yeah, so he does go. With
he goes for the correct play in my opinion.
At least the safer play.
Yeah, the much safer play. It doesn't look like he has another land, which is quite awkward after discarding 2. Oh, he does have another land. Okay. Did not see that land. That would be quite awkward after discarding 2 lands on turn 1.
Yeah, especially holding the Angel of Serenity.
Yeah.
So back to Fogle here, untaps this Geist of St. Traft.
Draws another Geist of St. Traft. So this draw, it's Geist of St. Traft and Spectral Flight versus the World. I think Jack's hand is 4 lands and a Geist of St. Traft. Yeah,
I'm trying to see. There's like a middle card in there that I think it's a land too, but I can't quite see. Yeah, I think it's a Hallowed Mountain actually. So yeah, it's all Geist all the time on Fogle's side, and Grannan successfully fogs the attack from Fogle there, and keeps himself at a healthy 12.
Doing good work. There's a Pillar of Flame, a Boris Reckoner, Umberrites, and an Angel Serenity in Jack Grannan's hand.
Yeah, now possibly regretting the fact that he didn't discard the Angel Serenity.
So one thing, he has 5 mana, so his hand doesn't look very exciting, but his graveyard's exciting. He has Faithless Looting, so that now he can discard his Angel Rights combo.
Yep.
And then he can also flashback a Lingering Souls. He still has another copy of that. So his mulch did not seem very good last turn, but it actually was pretty good.
Yeah, his hand is, I believe, Farseek, Angel, Faithless Looting.
The 5th card is a Farseek. So yeah.
So he's got some options, and looks like he's considering them.
I believe I would cast the 2 cards from the graveyard, but try and do Farseek, but you'd have to draw a 7th land for the hardcast Angel Serenity. Looks like, Jack's going for the Faithless Looting first. He did not leave open a black mana to flashback the Lingering Souls. He tapped 3 black mana to cast his Faithless Looting, and now no longer has. Yeah. That might be a very big mistake from Jack Grannan. He did draw a Stomping Ground.
So he can go Stomping Ground Reckoner, or...
I don't see the other card. Maybe a second. Yes, a second copy of Pillar of Flame.
Well, those are promo pillars, I think.
Yeah.
Both going to the graveyard there. And he's going to cast Farseek.
Okay, so he's on the hardcast Angel Serenity plan. Yeah, that's actually not going to be good enough. Because he hardcast Angel next turn. Yeah, that's another significant mistake from Jack Grannan.
Because he's going to go to 4 here. Hardcast Angel, he has 1 blocker, and it's
that's only 1 blocker. But if he discards his Angel Serenity, he can Umbrella Rights it and flashback Lingering Souls. So that gives him a blocker that will kill Geist of St. Traft, and a blocker for the token. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see if this ends up causing. There's a
Strangleroot Geist going to make it even worse.
Right, stronger guys is
Grannan.
going to make it even more dicey. So,
you know what's cool about this particular situation is it looks like we're going to see a game 3.
yeah.
And I like watching people play Magic.
Me too. I like Magic.
We'll see though.
Yeah, so Fogle in the driver's seat, absolutely. Despite another not impressive draw. His draw has not been impressive. It's literally been,
Right.
He's cast 2 cards this game.
It's not gonna.
Here comes spell number 3.
Yeah, it's not gonna significantly. It's not gonna change the clock at this point based on what we think Grannan's plan is next turn.
Yeah.
But he does successfully knock Grannan to 2 here. And
land 6 comes out for Fogle.
Grannan on the back foot, 2 life, draws a
Blood
with a
Crypt.
Blood Crypt, yeah. Has Reckoner, Angel of Serenity, Blood Crypt, and I don't remember what the 4th card was.
Yeah, so we have.
Unburial Rites.
It's all good that Jack Grannan drew discarded 2 Pillar Flames.
Yeah. Now it would have actually been reasonable.
So it looks like Boros Reckoner in some form. Either via Unburial Rites or the
Just
hand.
hard cast, yeah.
Unfortunately for Jack Grannan, that he's still going to have to come up with an answer to the flying Geist of Saint Trap. He can chump block it this turn.
Right.
I would not expect these Strangler Geist to attack. That's a spell. Some variety.
Spectral Flight, I think.
I believe that is another Spectral Flight, so that should be lethal. Yep.
And yeah, that'll be lethal. Yep.
So we are going to a game
3
3.
flyers. Yeah. So as you mentioned, I think the fact that he didn't leave the black mana open, there were a couple plays that game hinged on, and I think.
Yeah, very like not super obvious, but like I think some definite mistakes from Jack Grannan. Like getting the Angel of Serenity into play via Unburial Rites was very important, because that was his way to block and kill the Geist of Saint Trap.
Right, which of course we know Jack Fogle had a backup, but it would have dealt with a Spectral Flight, right? And it would have forced him to use his mana on that. Yeah.
But the next one, so the second copy of Geist of Saint Trap doesn't come with the Spectral Flight attached.
Right, exactly.
To it.
And
then like Boros Reckoner,
right? Oh yeah, exactly.
can take care of that. While the Angel Serenity could still, he still had plenty of blocking opportunities if he can get the 5/6 into play.
Yeah.
I think Jack was definitely very and like I said, Angel Serenity is one of the cards you can side out in this matchup if you are a Reanimator player. It's not super exciting.
We did see he's got 4 Angel, 4 Unburial Rites main, and we saw both of those in that game. But it's possible he did shave a couple numbers there. We just happened to see.
Right, and he just happened to draw both of them, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
When you only have a couple copies of a combo and you draw both halves.
Yeah.
Because as you saw that game, it's basically a combo. Hardcasting Angel Serenity is not an effective weapon in this match. Like I think Angel Serenity is only to get discarded. Simply because, Jack's draw was not great, but
Which Jack?
Jack Fogle. Yeah, sorry about your Jack mirror match. Fogle's draw was not great, but he still managed to put enough pressure that turn 7 Angel Serenity was not enough.
Yeah.
Grannan had the option for Angel Serenity on turn 7, but as he saw, it was not enough, so he had to do some other smaller plays.
Yeah, Fogle's deck is all about just early pressure. It's not like a mono red deck in that kind of way, but I mean it's essentially wants to do most of its spell casting in the early turns and just ride that to victory.
Philosophically, it is somewhat similar to a mono red deck in that it wants to get you before you're set up. The method in which it does it is different.
Yeah. So leaning on a turn 7 play to get you out of it is really risky. And obviously we never even saw it happen. By the time Jack could have cast an Angel of Serenity, it wasn't enough. But maybe having it earlier would have really changed the course of that game. Any changes you foresee here going into Game 3 now with Grannan on the play?
I could see a play difference.
Yeah.
I feel like Jack's the type of player, Jack Grannan is the type of player that realized oh, hey, I had this card, it wasn't good enough. I'm gonna try something else, either siding it out or just discarding it. Because you see he had the option on turn 1, but he didn't have the Unbearer rights yet. I think you just still discard it anyway.
Yeah, so that might even be an indication why he didn't discard it, is that indication that he sided out some of those Unburial rights because he wasn't confident that he was going to draw into them, and so he thought I might have to hard cast the Angel.
Yeah, in a matchup like this, I would like siding out Angels over Unburial rights. Like Unburial rights on Thragtusk still like not bad, and it's still a card that we can use from your graveyard. That's the thing with it. In a deck with like Faithless Looting, Mulch, Grizzly Salvage, you want cards that operate from the graveyard. Unburial rights does that not effectively in this matchup, but it still does it. Like Lingering Soul, like I think Jack Grannan wants like 6 copies of Lingering Souls.
I mean, we saw.
So it's time to like get Thragtusk or another big creature like Boros Dragon, like we saw game 1. It puts on a reasonable clock.
We haven't seen a Thragtusk yet.
We have not.
So it seems like a card that could really make an impact in this matchup, buying time.
Yeah, and sometimes Fogle's deck is very capable of making a creature that Thragtusk cannot block.
Sure.
Either by unblockability via Invisible Stalker, Spectral Flight giving flying, or just like Ethereal Armor making it too big and having first strike. Alright, so we see a turn 2 Farseek from Grannan. Still Mulch in his hand. Yeah, turn 2. If you have Farseek and your Reanimator deck, it's much better to cast on turn 2 than Mulch or Grizzly Salvage. Because say he had 2 copies of it, or say he had Mulch next turn, he could draw a second copy and cast both on turn 3. Just having the accelerating your mana is much better than just setting up slower.
Right.
Farseek is at its best on turn 2.
And I'm sure plenty of people have had that happen on their side and the other side of the table.
So Fogle here has yet again another not fantastic draw. He has plenty of lands, but they all come into play tapped.
Yeah, not very explosive at all out of the Hexproof deck.
And no Return to Ravnica dual lands, only Innistrad and M10 body lands.
So we have a hard cast Lingering Souls there from Grannan to follow up the Avacyn's Pilgrim from Fogle. And Fogle now untaps. Does draw into a Hallowed Fountain, I think? Or,
yes,
it looks
that
like
is a Hallowed Fountain.
It's a foil Hallowed Fountain.
Oh, look at Jack go. So now he has, I believe he has Invisible Stalker on 2 Rancors. That might be a Spectral Flight only, but if it even if it is Spectral Flight, nope, it's Invisible Stalker. That's interesting.
I think I saw a Negate in there. I'm not sure about that.
Okay, Negate is in Fogle's sideboard.
Yes. So
yeah, that is absolutely a Negate. So yeah, Jack has Negate up. If we didn't have the Negate up, I think the decision not to play Rancor was interesting. But if you're Grannan, that's a really big tell from Jackal because he took 2 damage.
Right.
To play as Invisible Stalker.
Yeah,
so he clearly has something.
Right. So Grannan swings in with the Lingering Souls, plays Cavern of Souls, or Cavern of Souls is naming Beast, by the way, and that is able to cast.
And that's probably a good play. Like you might expect like Spell Rupture, which would counter that.
Sure.
That's a potential card.
Yeah.
But Fogle drew an excellent card for him. He drew Ethereal Armor. So combined with the Rancor already in Fogle's hand, he can make his Invisible Clock minimum 5/3.
Yeah.
5 who cares because
exactly, it's an Invisible Stalker.
I believe there are 2 Rancors.
Wow. Okay. That's
okay. So we're going to town. So 1 + 2 + 2 + 3. That's 8 power. 8 power coming in to Jack. So there are 3 enchantments. So Ethereal Armor gives +3.
Yep.
8 damage. I think the judge is clarifying. That's where you see the long arm of the table judge.
Yes.
I mean, it confirmed. However, there are no life gain cards. Unflinching Courage is not. And Jack Grannan's still ahead on life total and has the first, basically he gets to attack first. They're
Right.
even on life total, but Jack gets the first attack.
Grannan.
Jack Grannan gets the first attack.
All right, so Grannan rearranging his lands there, and with a Thragtusk and double Lingering Souls in play.
Right, and the other thing to keep in mind is that Jack Fogle has negate at the ready.
Mulch hits Angel of Serenity, Abrupt Decay, was it Harvest Pyre? And rolling Temblor, sorry.
Temblor.
And then Grizzly Salvage.
So not a fantastic mulch there. There's still Lingering Souls in the graveyard for
Grannan. Yeah, so he's going to crash in here
that?
for 7.
If Jack goes at, I fully expect Grannan to cast.
Yeah, and looks like what's happening here. I'm going to flashback Lingering Souls. Fogle, I think looking at the...
Fogle has 9 life, so it put lethal in play.
Exactly.
For Grannan. But it looks like it's going to resolve.
It certainly is. So Fogle needs to come up with an answer here because...
I did not see the card he drew.
I didn't. I see at least a Sun Petal Grove. We know he has negate, and there's one other card.
Advent of the World.
Oh, well, so that's something. But that'll do some work, I think. It may end up just fogging the Thragtusk, but.
So, and I fully expect here. If Jack doesn't draw a good card, he drew Faithless Looting, I believe. Yeah, so Jack's looking at, Brandon's looking at his Rolling Temblor, looking to flash that back. And that the only card that will kill right now is the Avacyn's Pilgrim. But that would clear the way for a lethal attack. Brandon has 9 power in play. Both players are at 9.
There's a Faithless Looting. Draws into Voice of Resurgence and Blood Crypt or Dragon Skull Summit.
He needs to keep that Dragon Skull Summit.
I think he drew
or a Rootbound Crag. I believe he has a Rootbound Crag as well.
He's got both, yeah.
Yeah, so he should be discarding two of the lands. So I think Brandon's going to flashback the Temblor.
Okay.
But I think it's going to get negated.
Yeah, that'll. If there's anything Fogle wants to negate, it's a Temblor there. Even if it's just to save his Avacyn's Pilgrim.
Right, and that's all it's doing.
Exactly.
But what that allows to do is Jack can now chump the Thragtusk with the Avacyn's Pilgrim.
And then follow it up with
cast Advent of the Worm. Yeah. And then that'll be a lethal attack for Jack Fogle. So I fully expect Jack Fogle to win this match.
Yeah, I like your prediction. If that's the
based
line of play, yeah.
Based on the cards in each player's hand, I don't see too many things for deviating from this line.
Yeah, no more Lingering Souls for Grannan.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And he has to. It's going to take at least 8 or whatever. And playing around Advent of the Worm is pretty unreasonable for Jack Grannan here. His way to do so would be just to attack with 4 spirits, and then cast his Voice of Resurgence.
All right, let's see what the play is.
Yeah, we'll see what Jack Grannan goes for. And he can attack with his Thragtusk. Oh, he's flashing back Faithless Looting.
Okay, so he's going off...
He's got a Soul Reed.
Draws into a second Voice and I believe a Mulch.
Yes.
So he's got, right now, he's deciding between Voice, Mulch, Rootbound Crag, is that?
Yes, I believe those are the 4 cards. He has to discard 2 of them. Looks like he's going to discard Rootbound Crag and Voice of Resurgence. The other thing, this could be like a really big mistake. If Jack Grannan casts the Voice and Fogle doesn't respond with Advent of the Worm.
Yeah, that'll be big. That'll be a huge elemental is what it'll end up resolving in.
So if you're Grannan, you want to cast this pre-combat to sniff out any plays. I mean, he's already given up on the kill this
the Temblor plan, yeah. And you're right, like when Fogle sort of telegraphed the counterspell earlier in the match, that may have affected Grannan's decision making right here.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting. Like, if I'm Jack Grannan, like attacking with the Thragtusk is hard. Like obviously, Jack should cast the Voice of Resurgence pre-combat, and then he'd find the Advent of the Worm, and then know not to attack.
Yeah.
He would actually, well, he could only attack with 3 Lingering Souls tokens, because he's gonna take 8 from the
Stalker.
Yeah. So if this is the attack, I think Jack Fogle will win this match.
So if he attacks like this.
Yeah, and I think that's going to give Jack Fogle the match.
So Fogle will. So Voice of Resurgence post combat.
Right. And then that'll clear the way for at least 1 trample on Advent of the Worm, plus the 8 that the Invisible Stalker already represents.
Yeah.
So I think if Jack Grannan plays Voice of Resurgence pre-combat, he won't die next turn unless Jack Fogle draws an enchantment.
Because he'll have a different attack.
He'll have a different attack, and that can block the Advent of the Worm.
Right. So Fogle's going to take it all, which makes sense.
Yes, makes a lot of sense. Here comes Voice of Resurgence.
No, I think he just passed.
Did he draw something else? If he drew something else, that's a... If he drew something like an Abrupt Decay.
Now, I know an Abrupt Decay hit the graveyard, but...
I don't think there's... Yeah, I think there's just...
I think it's Voice and Mulching or something.
Yeah, me too. The card that Jack could have... unless there's a Ray of Revelation in the graveyard, but that would get negated.
Yeah, maybe that's... No, that looks like an Angel of Serenity.
Yeah, that's an Angel of Serenity. So, Advent of the Worm makes a 5/5 Trampler.
That's what that white...
Trample being the very incredibly important here.
Yeah.
Alright, here they come. Alright.
And there it is, yeah. Very, very close match between Jack and Jack.
Yeah, so...
4-color Reanimator falls to Bant Hexproof, the deck that, again, several SCG Premium writers mentioning is underplayed right now.
Yeah.
And so far, it's 1 for 1 in the feature match area.
Jack Fogle proving his superiority in the Jacksmanship, if you will. The other one, and the funny thing is, he won this match. None of his draws were outrageously good.
Right. He